Brad, have you been bemused by some of the talk externally about tanking and the like? Has that crossed your path?
Oh, it has, but it's been dismissed so quickly because it's absolutely laughable. One sense you could get really offended because it does question your integrity to an extent, and but it's just been so far removed from fact that I don't want to engage too much in it, other than to say it's absolutely untrue. We intend to do everything we can to win the next 5 games of this season, and we've always done that. In my time, I think we missed the finals 3 times, and in each of those 3 seasons when we couldn't make the finals, we've won the last game of the year. I mean, we want to win, and I think it's a really slippery slope when you start to try and think about, okay, let's be strategic and manage our list for the future, and potentially, as the accusation goes, manipulate potential draft order. I mean, we want to create a winning culture. That's always what our club's been about. And if you look back through our recent history, we've fought really hard. We finished 9th on a few occasions. We've finished right up there, and that's what we want to do for the balance of this season. So, the accusation is laughable, and it's not rooted in fact.
Can you understand why people externally think it might be more beneficial for the club to get the number 1 draft pick rather than the 2nd, the 3rd, the 4th?
No, well, this doesn't come into our thinking. Again, like I can't stress enough, there have been probably situations in the past where clubs have maybe sent guys off early for surgery knowing that they couldn't make the finals. We haven't done that. The guys that have had surgery now have needed it because their season is over. There is no one that we could have managed through the rest of the season. And in fact, there are some players who are being managed at the moment that will need surgery at the end of the year, but we're not going to put them in until our season's over. So that's again just speaks to what we're trying to do. And it's a slippery slope if you start. I know people will think number 1 draft pick would be nice, but my view is that you want to create a culture and build a platform that's going to be rock solid for the future. And the difference between pick 1, 2, 3 and 4, well, that's in the eye of the beholder anyway.
So do you frown upon other clubs doing that sort of thing, sending players off early?
Not concerned about what other clubs do. I'm only going to speak to what we do.
Did you get a few back then this week?
Yeah, we're likely to get Zeeble back. He's out there warming up at the moment, so we're pretty confident with him. Tarrant is a possible, but not a definite, unfortunately. We certainly thought he would be, but as is the nature with backs, sometimes they're a bit of a day-to-day proposition. But again, we're hopeful. We obviously, in the warm-up last week, he was unsure, and we gave him right to the last minute. And make no mistake, we were desperate for him to play. So we'll give him every opportunity to prove his fitness. And we're really hopeful on Bruce as well.
And there are a few other ones, if I could just quickly run. Hansen, is he a chance?
Yeah, he's got, unfortunately, just some hamstring tendonitis that we had to be conservative with him last week. He's a chance, but it's one of those, again, really tough ones to call because it's not an acute injury that's either right or it's not. It's grumbling a little bit. So, you can see how thin we are for defenders at the moment, that we just can't risk losing another one. So we'll give him every chance to play, but we're not sure yet.
And Williams and Wood?
Josh Williams? Oh, Marley?
Sorry,
no, Marley.
Yeah.
No, Marley won't play. His back is not. We've probably going to about the 5th option trying to get him right, and so it's unfortunate that he won't be available. Wood looks to have turned the corner, but he's missed a fair bit now. So we'll see how he trains today, but I think it'd be unlikely that he comes back into the team.
Is Goldstein in the frame at all? How did he go after last week?
Yeah, he's certainly in the frame. He went back and played okay. We're still looking to get Todd back to his very best, and it's fair to say he's not at his very best at the moment. So we've got a decision to make there, and to be honest, a fair bit of it will depend on how Bruce trains today.
So Bruce could potentially come straight back from injury, straight into the AFL side. That's a possibility?
Yeah, it's a possibility. Yep.
Have you made friends with Madge yet?
I never lost friends with Madge. Look, I know a lot's been made out of it, but and I think some of the talk would be valid if you didn't. And no one does have an intimate understanding of the relationships that coaches build with players. And I've known Madge for a long time. He's been here as long as I have. We've been through some really tough times, and I've supported him really strongly through that, and through that we've built a really strong relationship where I know how Madge responds best, and he knows what I need to do to get the best out of him. So we had a laugh about it straight after the game, and we had an even bigger laugh when a lot's made out of it. So we've got a lot of work to do educating him around certain parts of the game, and clearly I haven't educated him well enough around some of his boundary throw and ruck work, but I have educated him around what quality music is, and he's quoting Simon and Garfunkel during the week, and that's very unusual for players these days that they would listen to music of that high quality. So clearly I've done something right with him.
Nothing wrong with that.
That's right, I agree.
Was it more born out of the frustration that he's such a big bloke, and it's just he's been this for so long, but he still quite hasn't fully grasped how big he can be, and like how imposing he could be on a contest. Is that where it's sort of
that's a little bit unfair on him, because he is such a terrific athlete and has such physical prowess. But no, purely the calculated decision on the weekend was that technically we need to continue to work with him, but he needed to be prickled, and I know that he's not a naturally aggressive person. He's not a front foot, I have to calm him down. He is I have to prickle him to get him to be more aggressive. So that was purely the intent. He knows that. He's always known that. So, everyone can talk about it from the outside, and we'll have a laugh about it on the inside.
What's the biggest coaching spray you've witnessed or been on the end of, Brad?
Footy's changed a lot these days. I mean, that's probably why it's being talked about, because it's pretty rare. And I can think of Scotty McMahon would probably remember one at the Gabba a few years ago, but other than that, I can't think of another one that I've delivered. But go back 20 years ago, that was multiple occasions per training session and per game. So you think back at the late great Ken Judge, he gave some absolute beauties, and I caught my fair share of those.
There's a hell of a streak building up against Melbourne. That's 16 in a row. Does that come into it all heading to this week in terms of confidence that you got such a great record against the Demons?
Look, I think that the recent record probably does, but when it stretches back that far. I mean, I think Melbourne have changed their coach a number of times since then. There aren't many players left, I wouldn't imagine, from either team that were involved in the start of that streak. Our players have certainly given it to Brad Green this week, because he was playing in the last Melbourne win over North Melbourne. He had 25 possessions, and we reminded him that 23 of those were uncontested. But he was such a good kick that, why wouldn't he get it in an uncontested situation? But no, I think that we always look at the recent record, and are there any reasons for that? But when it's going back 11 years, I think it's largely irrelevant.
Rather than being a positive impact on your players, it's more of a negative for them. It plays in their mind a bit that they want to really end this hoodoo.
Yeah, look, I can only speak for us, and if we were in the same position, it'd be more a fan thing. It'd be more a great thing for the footy media, great thing for the fans to talk about. But footy clubs, in my experience, they look at anything outside the previous month is ancient history, and I assume that's the way they're talking about it, but I can't say for sure.
Got a strong venue at the ground, a strong record at the ground. I think it won 10 and 14. Is that something that you're building and will continue to build?
We really wanted to make sure that when we signed the initial deal to go down and play at Blundstone Arena, that we'd make it a fortress, and it had to be a competitive advantage for the team, not only for the football club. And we want to continue to build that fortress, and we'll take every opportunity to go down there and reinforce that it's a huge advantage for us to play on that ground against opposition that hardly ever play there.
It'd be pretty rough if you could recreate the first quarter from the last time you played there.
Yeah, that'd be nice. That'd be nice. It's great when everything goes perfectly, but as we know in this game, it doesn't always fall that way. So we expect a fierce contest. We're certainly going to try and make it one. But the ground is a significant advantage to us, because our boys know it really well. We get great support down there, and we look forward to getting down there at every opportunity.
The last time you played them down there was one of the games of the year. I mean, it was a bit of a shootout. Do the coaches like that sort of stuff, or the entertainment of it all?
No, they love the scoring bit. Yeah, they love it when you're scoring really well, but not so much when the tides turn. I think from memory that game we scored a lot early, and then they came back and scored a lot. So a tale of 2 quarters in the first half. But yeah, they play a good brand of footy. They play a style where they're trying to score, and so do we. So if that ends up being a high-scoring game, then that's great for the spectacle and for the fans. But I'm sure both coaches still base their game around defending first. But having said that, Melbourne are a good contested team, and we like to think at our best we can be too. So that's probably where the game begins and ends.
Just a quick one, sorry, just on Ben Brown. He's just had a sensational year this year. How have you sort of seen his development?
Oh,
12 months.
He's been fantastic, and I think that I'll leave it for everyone else to talk about the fantastic offensive output that he's given. But he has transformed himself from being a forward who would try to pressure and try to defend and do his best to now someone who just is actually an asset to the way we defend in our forward line. So that's a credit to him at 202 centimetres and well over 100 kilos. So the defensive side of his game and the improvement there probably won't be noted as much as the goals that he's kicking, but it's certainly noted internally.
When did that turn? Because I think even at the start of the year, his stats weren't fantastic compared to some other forwards. So when did you notice that started?
It's been a gradual build from the start of the year. It hasn't been a light bulb moment. It's just been he always gives himself a chance to improve because his work rate's unbelievable. There's no secret to his goal kicking, for example, and his accuracy. He just works harder than anyone else. He's got a great formula. He's got a great technique, and he drills it. And it's a great lesson to any young player.